Hey, what's up, everybody? DDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so, man, the air conditioning is deceptive. Let me tell you guys, air conditioning is deceptive. I'm in my room, I'm feeling the cool air. I'm thinking it's, probably regular out there, maybe for the valley, maybe 90 degrees, 88. Man, it is 95 degrees. It is going to be 99 degrees. I stepped out the house not knowing this. But I'm out in it now. It's a little too late to turn around. Start wondering if you really need what it is that you came out here to get. That's exactly where I'm at with it. But it's about noon, a little past noon, probably 12:26 to be exact. And yeah, man, just wanted to go out and get some rice. Maybe buy myself some jeans. Do what it is that I said I would have did if I had a little more time on Sunday, which was my birthday. And I felt like being out. I didn't feel like being in the room today. It wasn't anything particular that I was feeling, but I'm getting out. Very fortunate. My family has provided me so much for myself to kind of be comfortable this week, financially more so comfortable than I usually am. So figured I'd go grab myself something, maybe go to Hollywood. But this heat is it's a little warmer than them. This is the heat I avoid. This is the heat that I say I'm going to stay in the house today because I don't want to deal with it. I'm deciding to get out in it. I'm hoping for the best, because at the end of the day, I need the exercise for one. And I did throw away a pair of jeans that were a little too tight and a little too heavy these days. They're good jeans, but I truly believe that somebody swapped their jeans with mine, maybe on purpose or accidentally, once when I did laundry. I think that's what happened, because I don't remember buying them jeans. And every time I put them on, they're a little too tight, and they're so much thicker than any jeans that I remember having. Great for the winter time, but I didn't outgrown them. I didn't gain some weight. So there's no way that those are comfortable jeans, and I've been walking around in them at times, and it's like, I was thinking about putting them on this morning, and I'm like, if I'm gonna buy jeans, that means I'm gonna be taking them off and putting them on as I'm trying jeans. I don't ever want to wear these again, and I am buying more jeans. So it's like, man, I threw them things away. I'm cool. I probably should have gave them away. That's what I should have done. Left them in a break room or something for people to try on, but I did throw them away. But it was what it was, man. I'm not keeping nothing that ain't comfortable, nothing that I don't like. Not at all. So head over to Target and grab some more jeans. Make sure they're more loose fit than what I've been purchasing lately, because I've been buying my jeans a little too tight for my style, man. And when I get them on and start walking around, I'm like, man, these ain't, nah. So that's kind of where we're at, man. A little more loose fit is what I'm shooting for today. But this heat is pretty strong, man. I am fortunate to be alive. I'm not gonna complain too much, but I tell you, this valley heat is not for me, man. I do not particularly want to be in the valley next summer. I don't know how long it's gonna take for me to get out of this situation, or what path I'm gonna take necessarily. I'll be happy to still have somewhere to stay next year if I do, but this is one of the last summers I hope to spend in the valley, man. I don't want to move to Vegas or nothing like that. Anywhere the heat's like this, I'm cool. I don't like this at all. I grew up in Hollywood, and the heat does not get this hot very often. I didn't check to see how hot it's gonna be in Hollywood, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty hot over there too. So just got to deal with it. But man, this is summertime. That's what it is. August 20th. Tomorrow's my grandfather's birthday. I'm pretty sure he's gonna still be in the rehab/hospital. It's not a hospital, but it's a rehab center. But they have to take real good care of him. So I don't know if I'll be able to reach him tomorrow, but definitely he's on my mind as we celebrate this week. There's so many birthdays this week. I'm sure somebody's birthday is today. The 20th is somebody. I just don't know who it is. One of my nieces, maybe one of my friends, something like that. Somebody's day is today. Got my boy T coming up in a few days. My friend Summer, her birthday's this week. My uncle Merle, one of the people who's on Bible study with me. Maybe it's his birthday today. It might be his. But it's hot, man. It is. That's what it is. People were giving birth in some serious heat. And that's what I know. But yeah, man, just out here in it. Feel good. I feel pretty good. Slept well. No dreams worth talking about. Nothing like that last night. And just paying attention to a bunch of nonsense online, and it ain't really nothing I would feel like talking about. Just garbage on social media, trying to get through this era where there's absolutely no basketball, man. Yeah, it's not fun, but I will have some basketball teams to draft come midnight tomorrow night, with Yahoo opening up their draft, NBA draft fantasy team thingy. Y'all know I'm a fantasy draft expert / fantasy draft addict. That's a better way to describe it. So the moment I get a chance to draft some teams, I'll be doing that. And so that's what it is. I'll get like 6 teams to draft on that platform. So looking forward to that. You know, little stuff that I like to do, man. Making art. I made 3 pieces yesterday, as I told you guys. Those were pretty good pieces. Didn't make any this morning, but chose to get out instead. I definitely could have sat there and did a little art. I felt like it, but nah, I prefer to get out today. So here I am, man. But you know, as far as everything going on, I know I haven't talked about Gaza. I've been making these therapy sessions without mentioning Gaza, but it is the same situation more or less, man. We're just seeing more and more carnage. It never stops. They didn't kill more kids this morning. Saw the horrific stuff, man. You know, just the same old stuff. Unfortunately, in that situation, people are losing their lives, babies, in some horrific ways. Can't even really put it into words. I find myself speechless thinking about some of the images that I saw just this morning, man. Little kids, you know, only one of them alive, 4 of them there, 5 of them laid there. It's like, yo, man, if you co-sign this, or if you want to shun the people who are trying to put an end to this, it is going to reflect very poorly on you long term. When they look back on you, they're going to look back on you with nothing good to say about you, man. And that's what people need to understand. This crap is not going to age well. It's not. Genocide is not going to age well. Its supporters aren't going to age well. I understand that America just guaranteed $20 billion to be gifted to Israel come 2026. That's 2 years from now. They got money coming these guys' way 2 years from now. It's just like, yo, this government that we have in our situation right now, these are some of the most irresponsible, short-sighted operating individuals to ever lead our country, man. These people are so bad for business as it pertains to Israel, and we are following them to the end of the road as if this is just a PR nightmare and not something that's going to linger. People are witnessing children passing away in their phones. The protests are not going to go away. This is not going to blow over. These images are being etched in our minds, and we're seeing new ones every day. The movement is only going to get bigger. You cannot whisk us away. That's the point. You're going to have a very difficult time going forward, going as business as usual, while you're continuing to support these people and while the word is being spread of what it is they're actually up to and what it is their ideals actually are. You know what I mean? It comes down to it. If you want people to stand down, you got to stand up and make it known that you are acknowledging that not only are we witnessing trauma, but we're witnessing a continuation of a deterioration of our moral compass before our eyes. And for me, I just understand that this is not going to go away. I was watching the DNC, a little bit of the DNC footage of people who were standing up against this nonsense. And sure enough, it was one of those situations where there were people in the audience showing frustration for the genocide. And of course you had the people who were there to support Joe Biden and the DNC screaming USA to try to drown out the noise from the protesters. And I'm telling you, man, it's just gonna grow. The average human being who's not completely corrupted is going to be enlightened by the information provided and the images provided. Enlightened in a way that they may be staunch Democrats or Republicans now, but when they come to the realization of what it is that all of us are coming to understand going down this rabbit hole, they're going to know that what they stand for doesn't hold the values that it thought. And aligning with it is going to ultimately put them in a position to betray what it is that they truly believe in overall. And there's not going to be as many people aligning with that as they will probably need to keep the guys up that this should continue to be done. And that's what I'm saying. There are going to be people who are going to be what I call human bots, who no matter what the situation is, they just simply don't want what they have going on disrupted. And the word all for them means us. Do you see what I'm saying? Like justice for all? No, it's justice for us. And we really don't care about anything other than our corner and what it is that ultimately we are aligned with. And there's going to always be people like that who are passionate about themselves and their own, and that's it. But you're not going to find that many of them are going to be able to hold a candlestick, so to speak, to the logic that's coming against that thought. When you start seeing the images of what it is we've seen, it wakes you up. That's what I don't think a lot of people are really ready for, is the reality of this changing people's minds as it pertains to their politics, as it pertains to how they feel about themselves, as it pertains to drawing a line in the sand between what it is that they thought they believed in to what it is that they're now learning and finding out. It's like you can't possibly think the world is going to stay the same. You can't possibly think that all these people that are supporting and voting for you are going to continue to be able to ignore the protests and not find out what the people are actually protesting about. This is just like the civil rights movement. It's going to grow. It's going to grow. And all of those people who are trying to make it seem like they can align with the wrong side of this thing, trying to vilify protesters and vilify people who are standing against this, and pour so much money into police activity against protesters, pour so much propaganda into the support of Israel. What you're going to find out is that becomes loud, that support becomes loud, and so does the debunking of it with the force against it. So the more you pour into that nonsense, the more people become aware of the hypocrisy that you engage in. It's just like I said about something else. And I don't think a lot of people understand this. But if you got a public forum and you suspend somebody, everyone's watching you suspend them. And the questions about why ultimately enter their mind. So if your intention is to have people not pay attention to them, or if you don't want to create awareness, then the last thing you want to do is suspend that person for whatever they did, because the suspension then shines a light on them and thus opens up the conversation for why it's being done. You see what I'm saying? Many businesses don't understand this, or don't appear to understand this, and then end up dealing with the trouble of having to answer questions that they don't want to answer. If you're going to vilify somebody for something you know damn well they should be doing in regards to their moral compass, if you're going to suspend somebody for standing up against genocide, for example, you're going to get a good portion of people who don't know nothing about genocide looking at you suspending them and naturally asking questions. That question asking process sends them down a rabbit hole that enlightens them entirely. You see what I'm saying? It's just like it's the Kyrie thing all over again, basically. They wanted to get on his case and made him apologize and did all types of different demonstrations in regards to him for telling all of us in a very slight way about a book that they didn't agree with. You shined a light that he didn't have on the situation. All he did was post it. That reached all the people that followed him. You then turning around and suspending him shined a light that is much brighter. You turning around and making him apologize and going through the whole rigmarole, shined an even bigger light on the book itself. Now you got more people reading the book than they ever would have just from him posting it. You made that book more popular by being so vehemently against it publicly and trying to visibly show a certain resistance to it being read is only going to create the curiosity for what it is that you're hiding in the book. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I think this is doing the same thing. Now you got a bunch of people who aren't really paying attention to protesting or what the protesters are protesting, the genocide. Now having the seeds planted in their head that there's something there for them to learn. And it's going to do what that does, which is send people down that rabbit hole of enlightenment in regards to just how ridiculous it is to trust our government. It's gotten to a point where it's absolutely ridiculous to even listen to people like Blinken and Harris and all these different talking heads on both sides of the spectrum. For people who pay attention to what it is that I've been seeing, trusting them is sheer stupidity. They've been proven liars once a week. You see what I'm saying? As to where the average person who's not paying any attention to what I'm talking about may have heard a few times that they shouldn't trust their government, but they don't have repeated data pointing towards it being ridiculous that they do. And that's the problem they're running into. They're shining a light on their own hypocrisy. They're shining a light on the notion that they have no credibility. They're shining a light on the understanding that there's something to question about their depiction of who terrorists are. Nobody would even be thinking about this if not for your severe opposing of what it is that ultimately people are protesting. You're making it bigger than it is. You send 1 million cops out there to get on 30 protesters. People are looking at that. They're looking at the idea that you're reacting so strongly to it. Like, you gotta think about that. You're the one making the scene. It's just like anybody else making a scene. Yeah, you might have a legitimate gripe, but unless you want everybody in your business, you're not gonna make a scene. And they're making a scene, and so that's really what it is. I don't think our, first of all, as I always say from a spiritual standpoint, the devil ain't never gonna cover his backside. Good always prevails because it has nothing to hide. In the presence of looking like you're trying to hide something, you become suspicious, which then raises questions. So it doesn't pay off really to do a whole lot of damage in the world as it pertains to being corrupt, because you're going to look guilty to some of us who are paying close enough attention, and the word spreads, and eventually a lie begets a lie begets a lie begets a lie, and ultimately you end up getting caught 9 out of 10 times. So it's like, that's what is going on in our government. You got all this data, all this footage of all of this that's going on in this genocide, and then you got them reacting extra, so to speak, being exaggerated in their intentions of vilifying those who are going against their genocide. And then you got these ridiculous, irresponsible government officials speaking on things that are already debunked, using jargon that only further gaslights those who are against this nonsense, also further creating a scene that makes it so that people are paying attention and asking questions. And you see the protesters sitting up here saying, don't kill children, and then you see these DNC individuals running around trying to drown them out by saying USA. So the great antithesis to killing children is USA? The great antithesis to stopping genocide is a chant of your own country? I mean, it's like you're shining a light on this. All of you opposers of the opposition of genocide are effectively creating the seed planted in the minds of those who don't know nothing about this. You're doing more good for the movement against genocide than anyone like myself would ever be in your reaction to me. You see what I'm saying? That's what's going to make people curious. That's what's going to make people look around and say, yo, what the hell's going on here? And ultimately find out. It's not those of us who are saying stop this nonsense. It's those of you who are making it so credible that our nonsense be silenced. Nothing that holds any real value is going to have so much opposite. Let me word this correctly. If something's not valuable, it's not going to have a whole lot of resistance. It's just like we do in our own respective lives on this internet thing. I'm not reacting to a guy who has 10 followers, just like a guy who has 1 million followers ain't going to react to me. No matter how much I throw sticks at him, it's not going to happen. Drake was never going to respond to Joe Budden, but he definitely responded to Kendrick Lamar, and it's because of status. If something holds no value, then you're not going to pour so much into it to silence it. Zionists pour so much of their efforts and resources into silencing people who oppose their genocide that they ultimately are shining a light on the notion that they are wrong for committing genocide. That there is an actual genocide being done because of how hard they're trying to go in silencing the people who are accusing them of it. It's the same thing we say about in regards to Puffy and his situation. Why would he try to spend so much money on Cassie trying to silence her in her situation? He spent all this money, whatever the money was, it was reported to have been a lot, so that he could quiet this woman. If she didn't have anything valuable to say about him, then what would that be necessary for? He shined a light on the notion that there was something to hide, which made it so that people questioned whether or not there was something he was hiding, which sent them down a rabbit hole that ultimately put us in a position where we understand him to be the guy he is today. So it's like, yo, you shine the light on that. Not just the people standing on the sideline saying, yo, you a bad guy, but that you react so strongly to them saying it gives credence to the notion that maybe you are. And so that's what's ultimately happening here. More and more people, a new person every day, is waking up to the understanding of what this country is doing, to the lack of credibility of our government and our elected officials, to the notion that they are owned by and more or less bought and paid for by several Israeli lobbyists, and then furthermore shining a light on the deviant moral compass or lack thereof of the Israeli process and the Israeli settlers who support things like rape and breaking into people's homes and stealing their homes from them, and having the support of the police as they go about terrorizing civilian individuals who happen to be Palestinian, of the apartheid practices of their state. And then furthermore, the notion that it would be necessary for that to continue in order for them to hold fort where they are. And then furthermore, watching them gaslight and cry victim, and then proceed to say that they're being aggressive in doing to these people what it is they're doing because they're concerned that they will do those things to them. You want me to have a heart for the 1,200 Israeli settlers who were killed on October 7th. But as I go down this rabbit hole, when I look at the Israeli settlers' behavior, I have seen little to no decency from any of them. Why do I care that they died? That's what the question is. If I'm looking and I'm seeing these people beating the hell out of old people, kicking animals in the backside, pushing old ladies out of their house, beating the hell out of rabbis, and all different types of deviant stuff that I've seen these settlers do. Why do I care that they died? They're not displaying any sense of humanity in their living. They're a deterrent to the peace of the Palestinian people. I didn't know of this in my head on October 7th. I still saw them as human beings with a decent moral compass, just like I thought everybody else was for the most part. But going down this rabbit hole has exposed to me the deviant nature of their culture. The way that they feel like they are worth more than me and everybody else walking around, not them. So you further going down this rabbit hole is only taken away from any sympathy that I would otherwise have for their lives. Anyone they otherwise have for their purpose or their cause. You see what I'm saying? So as I look and continue to go down this rabbit hole even further, as I continue on day 320 of this, I have a view of these people that is bad. Not to say that everyone there is bad, because I know that they are not, but that's a notion that I have to believe in rather than have many images of evidence to prove. You see what I'm saying? They ain't showing me nothing but bad. Throwing rocks at people's cars as they drive by, stopping aid, breaking into trucks that have aid to destroy the aid, going to where water reservoirs are and ultimately destroying the contraptions there to send the water to the people. Like, why do I care that they lived? The world is better without them. They're a deterrent to living. And you want me to care about them dying on October 7th? I think more of them should have died based on what it is I've seen. We should have wiped the whole lot of them out. The Palestinian children would be safer. My country would be freer. You see what I'm saying? That's what this rabbit hole has taught me, and that's what this rabbit hole is going to teach many, many new people as they go down it. That's exactly what it's going to teach them. And there are many people who don't know what I'm talking about, don't have a notion about this. And most they know about Palestinian people is that there are people protesting against what's going on there and waving a foreign flag. And then waving a foreign flag of someone who is not our quote-unquote ally, coupled with the faith that they have in their government that's been instilled in them since basically second grade. They just assume that the Palestinian people are terrorists and that what is being said about them is true and that they don't need to see much anything because the people that they're listening to, they trust. That's where a lot of Americans are. That's not where they're going to be when they start going down that rabbit hole for themselves. That's not where they're going. That's where they're at in 2024. Let's see where they're at in 2026 when this doesn't let up, when people don't cease talking about a ceasefire. And they continue to see images that I've seen for the last 320 days. When they start seeing the inhumane practices of these settlers and start weighing it against what they feel what they would accept for themselves and their families, you're going to find very few people who actually roll with that. You got to keep people in the dark in order for that to go along, because if they even know a little bit of what's going on there, it's going to send them down that rabbit hole that ultimately you don't want them down. They'll send them down that space where they start questioning everything that is attached to that energy. Everything that's attached to that moral compass that is no good. They're going to want to know what the heck has been running this country for so long, why we've been lied to about the people that we've been lied to about. You're going to start seeing more and more people seeing the footage of that humanize the people, humanize rather the people. You're going to see all of that. You're going to see all of it. Here you go, button. You got it, bro. And that's what it comes down to, man. You start seeing ultimately the contrast in what it is you've been told about in regards to these folks versus the truth about them. You start learning about the characters that they've been wanting you to silence and how decent they are, not only towards their own people, but towards everybody else, which is ultimately what you would hope to see. And then you compare that to what it is that you learn about the people that you've been trusting and how they are not thinking that way, and that the credibility of them pointing out a threat in the people that you learn were decent held no weight. That's what you end up going and finding out. That you've been allowing the terrorists to define to you decent human beings as terrorists because it's within their own interest in terrorizing these people. And the only way that they can effectively do that with your support, which they definitely need, so that you don't become completely and utterly disruptive to what it is that ultimately needs to be disrupted. They need you to continue to believe that they are credible and that those people that they're doing this to are actually harboring the character that they display against them. That's what this rabbit hole is going to teach everybody who goes down it. And then you're going to find out that you have to be wired especially wicked to support that nonsense after you finish having all of this revealed to you. You have to be especially wicked to be okay with this. More wicked than most people are, man. I'm just being honest. I think a lot of people are in the dark. I don't think they're wicked. I just don't think they've gone down that rabbit hole. And what's been in front of them for all their lives is that they should trust the people who are describing to them that Palestinian people are bad guys. But see, there's something that we can go back and look at, because they did the same thing to people like myself, black folks, in the civil rights era. They've run this play before. This ain't the first time we've seen this. So it shouldn't be as hard for people to come around to see the parallels of the civil rights movement and how they did the Black Panthers and the Palestinian movement and how they're doing Hamas. Hamas is the Black Panthers. I've told y'all that more than once. It's a don't start nothing, it won't be nothing type of situation. It ain't never gonna be Hamas doing any damn thing to them 12,000 demonic settlers. Or 1,200, which is a number that I don't believe is even real, coupled with the idea that the credibility of those who tell us is 1,200 and the Hannibal directive that we know they engage in, which ultimately is them killing their own people for their own reasons, ultimately makes you think they killed all 1,200 of them people, and or that those ain't even 1,200 Israeli bodies, that they're likely bodies from elsewhere. There's probably something in that ballpark. And if they did kill 1,200 people, they're not real Israelis. If they were people they told you was Israeli, they ain't. Probably people they stole from your city. All the people that have been popping up, missing and all that, that's probably who those bodies actually are. People you ain't, where'd they go? Israeli got them. They got them. They're one of the 1,200. But either way, that's just my theory. I don't have anything to back that up. But the point is, you start questioning everything that comes from that, because you know damn well they don't hold no credibility, because what it is that this rabbit hole is going to show you is that they don't. That they are in fact on a jihadist mission themselves. Nakba. And that the way to treat them, to neutralize what they're doing, is the way that they've ultimately treated who they call terrorists. Every accusation was a confession. Every tactic needed to stop terrorism is ultimately what is needed to stop them. They are the terrorists and they know how to stop themselves. And they're applying the cap, so to speak, to the people that they're hoping you will believe are terrorists, so that you will continue to allow them to do this to these people. That's what's going on there. So when protesters get up and show the strength against this genocide, they will enact terrorist protocol against them because they got to keep up the guise of the lie being true. They can't just have like cops out there against these protesters because then that tumbles forward to the truth coming out about all of it and all of them. So they have to continue to posture as if peaceful protesters who are calling for the lives of children to stop being killed are the terrorists themselves who are in fact supporting people who are killing children. And they will pour all of this money into this empty cause, acting as if the people who wouldn't hurt anybody, who are calling for lives to be saved, are actually looking to terrorize. They are throwing money at the lie. That's what your government is doing, and you're seeing it all over the world. They're throwing money at the lie. We know damn well 9 out of 10 people who are protesting this genocide are absolutely and utterly harmless. You would not find a need for a third of the police presence to neutralize those people, but they have to keep the lie going. So they will pour millions and millions of dollars, an unnecessary protocol that you would use against terrorists, on these people so that they can keep that guys going. That's what they're doing. Because if they display the reality of the threat in regards to what they're investing in the police presence there, it opens up the question of whether or not all their lies were lies. If these people aren't terrorist supporters, if we don't need this much police presence, then maybe what they're saying here holds some credibility. And what will that do? That will send you down a rabbit hole, where you ultimately find out everything I just said and more, much more. Peaceful protesters being treated like they're bad people so that a lie can be upheld, while it's simultaneously being debunked by the presence of footage proving otherwise. But it's not about what you can prove. It's about how much you are willing to stand on the lie, is what America's trying to bank on and hoping for. Because they know so many people are in the dark and not curious about going down that rabbit hole, as long as they stand in the presence of all of them and continue to stand on the lie, the hope is that you won't go down the rabbit hole. The hope is that you won't ask the necessary questions to then be proven all of the different stuff that ultimately is there for you to learn. They're counting on your compliance in being ignorant in order to continue to justify their madness. It's enough people who know. If there were enough people who knew, there would be no way for them to continue to do this. But as long as they have the minds of the people who trust them blindly and are curious about nothing they do, they don't have to adhere to the truth. They can point out the few of us who know, call us liars, enact protocol against us that ultimately shows that they believe we are terrorists, and proceed to stand on the notion of your lack of curiosity, keeping them in a position to do what they're doing and not be held accountable for it. Which is why it is so very important that a lot of y'all go down this rabbit hole. Ask some questions that maybe were not within your natural space to ask about your government, about the validity of their declarations, the validity of their accusations against people of many colors. It is very important that you at least think that it's possible that what I'm saying could possibly have some credibility to it. They are counting on you never questioning that. And it takes context. Lots and lots of context that is going to be given to you by way of going down said rabbit hole, that'll ultimately reveal to you just how little it makes sense to trust anything they say. That your news media, as I said at the beginning of this process, is compromised by the same people your government's compromised. And that is why they can stand on a lie as it is being proven to the minority of us and still have compliance among the majority of us. Send your friends and family down this rabbit hole. Spread the word. Get you an Instagram account. Get you a TikTok. Follow the Godiva Goddess. Follow Wizard Basan 1. Follow Code Pink. You need to know what they know. Then make a decision on whether or not you align with this genocide or not. Then make a decision on whether or not you believe Israel should be ultimately held accountable for anything. Know what it is that these people know before aligning with condemning them, because they've been sent down a rabbit hole that has allowed them the context to understand why what they're doing and being disruptive is absolutely and utterly necessary. That's what needs to be. That's the elephant in the American room. That's the elephant in the UK room. That's the ultimate elephant in the whole world. That you have been coerced into not being curious. And that they're counting on that. Deeply counting on that. That you will be aligned with propaganda in such a unbiased way that you will never unearth the context necessary to challenge it. None of what they're doing in regard to these protests as it pertains to this police presence is necessary. It is wasted American dollars on a lie that would otherwise paint people who are harmless out to be bad people so that the people who are harmful can continue to inflict harm on others. That is exactly what that is. All of you police officers, that's the rabbit hole you need to be going down. When you put on your badge, you need to know what the hell you're doing. If you're fine with it, that's just the hill you're dying on, friend. But don't be confused or lost as you are doing your job, wasting your hours, and all of this protocol that should otherwise be used against real bad guys, against people who are asking that we stop killing children. At some point in time, you got to realize that you, my police officer friend, you, my great U.S. Army, Navy, Marine, you are the power that these people have to continue doing this bullcrap, bro. If they don't have you, they don't have nothing. If they don't have your compliance and your gun and your willingness to die on their hill, literally die on their hill, they don't have the power to enact all this garbage they're enacting. It's you they need the most. And a lot of y'all are fine with what they're doing. A lot of y'all are just haven't gone down the rabbit hole and have been coerced into not being curious. And that is dangerous for everybody. You, my police officer friend, need to go down the Palestine rabbit hole. You need to know why they're sending you out there. You need to know why these people are coming in droves all over the world against this same point while it's not being shown on the news. You need to know why that training, that Israeli training that you're getting, is no good. You need to know what's going on the other side of the wall when you go to Israel and how they treating people. Don't be confused, because I have a good feeling that they're not showing people. They are hiding from people, even their own citizens in Israel, of what's actually going on there. They don't know. Just like a good portion of American people don't know. We ain't complicit in what our government's doing. We need to go down the rabbit hole so that what it is that we've been trained to believe can be revealed to us as bullcrap, and then we can allow our own belief in how people should be treated to guide us in these processes of trying to figure out who should be what and how much we are worth and how helpful it is to continue thinking the way we've been thinking. If what it is that we believe is actually going to result in what it is that we want. You say you want Hamas to stop killing your people? Make damn sure what you are doing is going to ultimately keep them off of your ass. Because my Israeli friend, I'm telling you, killing a bunch of their kids, regardless of what you've been taught all your life, treating them like garbage and killing a bunch of their kids only going to make the world more difficult for you to live in. Continuing on that path of treating them badly, no matter what it says in your book, is ultimately only going to have all of the vitriol of the world pointed at you and your family. I don't give a damn what it says in that book. This is what comes of doing this. You want to keep on moving in the direction that makes it so that everybody hates you, and you want to walk around gaslighting people and act like you're the victim, you're the only ones that matter, you got to know what comes to that behavior. It's not harmless for you. This tumbles forward to people all over the world celebrating your passing, celebrating your torture. You want to enact torture on people and be aggressive in nature in regards to your violence, unapologetic in doing so, people are going to celebrate you dying. That's what comes of that. You being at peace is going to give you what it is you're looking for. Have it so that people value you the same way you believe you need to be valued. That's what tumbles forward from peace. That's what tumbles forward from solidarity and equality. Is people aligning up to see you succeed. Whatever you've been told otherwise is a seed planted in your head to enable your own destruction, and that of the destruction of what it is you are pointed at by people who want to manipulate you. You want to know why you are not welcome in the land you're in? It's because of what it is you believe in while being there. They want you out of there because you think it's okay to hurt them. You think it's okay to treat them poorly. It is not. You are more likely to get what it is you want and having your state and having people want to share land with you by treating them kindly, by treating them with respect, by doing away with the moral compass that you engage in that allows for violence to be acceptable and torture to be allowed. These are the things that make people want you out of their land, kicking them out of their homes, and you wonder why you still got to look over your shoulder at 75, 76 years later. It wouldn't be nobody messing with you if you weren't messing with them first. It wouldn't be nobody protesting against you and boycotting you if you weren't engaging in this behavior. With these norms, they effectively weaponize themselves against you. The proof is in the reaction of the world as it protests your nonsense, as more and more people go down this rabbit hole and realize what you've been on. It don't pay to be you anymore. You are a human cancer. You disrupt that of which makes everything harmony. Without you, everything's fine. You got to understand that in order for you to be able to stand in a peaceful space, you got to now unlearn what you've learned and become what it is that ultimately makes people fine. That's what works. That's what will leave you to be here 25,000 years from now, rather than people wanting you out of here within 100 years and 150 years. The Zionists wonder why they don't have a state and they don't have a home. It's because everywhere you go, you become an eraser. You make it so that other people can't live. Why would they want to coexist with you? You don't allow them to. And it just takes a little bit of unlearning of indoctrination nonsense to realize that everything I just say makes all the sense in the world to anybody who'd hear it, bro. Especially those who are sick of losing people. So that's what I'm saying to y'all. You don't want your hostages taken? It starts with your thoughts and your intentions of treating others. If you don't start nothing, it won't be nothing. You won't have no hostages taken if you don't align with barbaric and destructive, lacking in humanity type morality. You won't have as many people want to take you off the earth or supporting you or whatever the suffering you go through. You won't have as many people if you don't first put yourself out there to say, yo, I'm better than everybody else and I want to harm them because of what it is that I think they feel about that. No, that doesn't work. Can't you see that doesn't work? At some point in time, we got to look at our Bibles, look at our Qurans or whatever books we have in there. And if what it is that's in there is going to tell us something that's going to give us the opposite of what it is we ultimately want, you got to unlearn some things, man. No matter what the book is, you got to unlearn some of that. You got to question some of that. That's what I'm saying to you, man. And nobody needs to understand this more than those of us who don't believe in nothing, man. It's a lot of people who are driven by religion. They're driven by that. While you don't believe there's a God, they are moving mountains because they believe that either they are a God or that God is coming or something of that nature. That God left them something, that they're entitled to what you have because of God or some nature like that, man. You need to go down these rabbit holes, bro. So that's what I have to say, man. That's really my point of view. I just want people to start questioning things, go down the rabbit hole, stop allowing people around you to tell you who's around you, learn about the people around you, do the due diligence, do the hard thinking. And whatever the hell you do, do not trust Western government or Western media. They are compromised to the highest order. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.